Dr. Anderson.
Jeffrey Demarest.
Of course, of course. It's just that I've seen you so often as Dr. Anderson, it's hard for me to separate the character from the actor who portrays him, and so convincingly, if I may say so.
Well, thank you. You're a soap opera fan?
Oh, good heavens, no. They bore me to tears. No offense, but Sylvia Lovejoy is my patient, and she never misses an episode of your show, so I can't avoid seeing it whenever I'm with her. I'm Dr. Werner Frankel, and this is my assistant, Dr. Minifield.
Nice to meet you.
What brings you here?
Well, a few weeks ago, I received a fan letter from Mrs. Lovejoy. A rather unusual letter, I might say. Enclosed was a check for $1 million. Oh. Well, I didn't believe for a second that it was any good, but just out of curiosity, I took it to my bank, and
It was good.
Oh, yes. Very, very good. Well, in the letter, she asked if I could come and visit her. I figured it was the least I could do. Could I see her?
Well, you are seeing her now. Well, most of her.
I beg your pardon?
Allow me to introduce you. This is Sylvia Lovejoy's liver. This is her pancreas. Over here, we have her kidneys. This is her heart. This is her spleen. These are her lungs. And various other sweetbreads.
I'm sorry, Doctor. I don't understand.
Oh, no, of course. Would you like some coffee?
Please. Black.
Minifield, coffee. Won't you sit down, Mr. Demarest? You see, when Mrs. Lovejoy's husband died, he left her slightly over $1 billion. This was back in 1959, when $1 billion was still a lot of money.
Oh, dear, I'm so sorry.
You clumsy fool.
No, it's quite all right. It's just a drop.
Minifield, the monitor.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
He's a doctor?
No, he was. Until he gave some patient or other an experimental drug that hadn't been approved for human use.
Oh, it hurt the patient.
No, it saved her life, but it cost him his license, the numbskull. So I gave him a job here. I'm such a softy. Anyway, Sylvia led a glittering and glamorous life. And then when she was in her late 70s, her heart began to fail her. Her doctors only gave her a few months. Sylvia was a fighter, but no one offered her any hope. And she heard about my research in artificial organs. Although I was much maligned by the medical community, she came to see me. I explained my theories. I told her I could build her a new heart. So we made a very simple arrangement. For every year of life I gave her, she gave me $50 million.
$50 million?
Yes.
How long has she been your patient?
26 years. And as one by one her organs failed her, I would construct new devices to serve their functions.
Yes, but these are huge. I mean, I thought artificial organs were designed to fit inside the body.
That's what everyone else thought. Just shows you how stupid doctors can be. No offense.
I'm an actor.
Yes, of course, forgive me. You're so convincing. You see, when the artificial organs are outside the body, there's no need to worry about the body rejecting them. And with the organs in the open, they can be constantly monitored. And if anything goes wrong with one, there's no need to cut open the patient in order to get out. You just use a screwdriver and fix it the way you would any other machine. Everything is totally accessible, totally controllable. With proper servicing, Sylvia Lovejoy can go on living forever.
Yes, but how does she manage to move around?
She doesn't.
She doesn't move.
I promised Sylvia life, not mobility. Would you like to see it? The rest of her, I should say.
Please.
It's right above us.
There we go. Oh, I think it really suits you like this. Here, take a look. What is it, Mrs. Lovejoy?
Oh, nothing. Just feeling a bit blue. I hate weekends, having to do without my soaps. I'll be fine.
Well, are you sure that's all it is?
Well, I am a bit concerned. Dr. Frankel was saying he's unhappy about the way my eyesight is deteriorating. He said he's developing some artificial visual organs for me. I want to keep my eyes, Gloria. They're almost the last things that are mine.
Hey, now. He can't take away your eyes if you don't want him to.
Yes, he can. He's the doctor. When I signed that contract with him, it gave him the right to do whatever he thinks best for my health. Oh, well, no point in worrying about it. Look, I've almost finished your sweater. It'll be ready for you next time you come.
Oh, it's beautiful. I just love it.
It's the least I could do. You've been such a comfort to me the past few years. Well, I'd cry without my eyes.
Tell me, Doctor, do you have any other patients?
No. Let's face it, my schedule of fees might put a strain on the average budget. In any case, I haven't the time. Aside from Sylvia, all my energies are devoted to my research.
Research into what?
Other artificial organs. Sylvia still has some natural organs. Eyes, ears, nose, but they are flesh and subject to decay and deterioration. When that happens, I must be ready.
Yes, but if you replace all of Sylvia's organs with machines, will it still be Sylvia?
I'm a physician, not a philosopher.
You leave her eyes.
I beg your pardon.
Don't you dare take away her beautiful eyes.
I shall do whatever I deem beneficial to the health of my patient. That is my first and only priority.
Your first and only priority is the money you suck out of her. She told me all about your arrangement.
I'm not the first doctor to live well. Why shouldn't I? I work hard. I've earned it. Besides, it's none of your business. Leave a bill for your services and don't bother to come back here.
Oh, no, I'm not leaving. I'm the only friend she's got, and you fire me and I'll go to the papers.
Go ahead. I've nothing to hide. It was Sylvia who didn't want publicity. You know, she was once a famous beauty, and she doesn't want the world to see her as she is. She's a very vain woman.
She's a prisoner.
Nonsense. She's free to communicate, to write letters to whomever she wishes, as this gentleman will attest.
She's like some horrible fortune-telling machine and a penny a cake.
Are you leaving, or shall I call security?
You monster. I wish I'd done what Sylvia asked me to.
I'm sorry. It seems the respect the medical profession once enjoyed no longer exists in this world. Whatever happened to doctor knows best.
I wonder what Mrs. Lovejoy asked her to do.
Who knows? Fully understandable, after all. She's 114 years old. She adores Mozart.
Where's her body?
Oh. Well, you see, it really wasn't doing her much good. Being attached to the machines, she was immobile anyway. Besides, you know, the human body is subject to so many diseases which could prove life-threatening. So about 15 years ago, we just got rid of it. You might say Sylvia's artificial organs have rejected her body.
And she lives her life like this?
Oh, it's really not so bad. She has a television, she has a Mozart. I built her an artificial arm. She uses it to write letters, to do crossword puzzles, to knit, change channels. She's waking up.
Dr. Anderson, you've come.
I'll let you have your little chat.
I'm not Dr. Anderson, Mrs. Lovejoy.
Oh, I know that. You're the actor that portrays the doctor. But you've invested him with such warmth and compassion and understanding. I'm sure you yourself are generously endowed with the same qualities.
Well,
I can't tell you what pleasure you've given me over the years. I was so happy when you were able to save that little Oriental girl's legs. And I must say I was delighted when you finally broke off with that senator's widow. She was never the one for you. I can't believe you're really here. It was so good of you to come.
Well, hardly. I mean, after that check, I really shouldn't accept it.
Oh, but you must. It means nothing to me. And you've given me so much.
Well, thank you. Thanks. Thanks a million. No, and if there's anything I can ever do for you, Mrs. Lovejoy, please.
Actually, there is one thing. If it wouldn't be too much trouble.
Oh, certainly. What?
Kill me.
Kill you?
Would you do that for me, please? Just return when it's convenient with a few little pills or injection, whatever it takes.
Mrs. Lovejoy, I wouldn't know how to do that, even if I wanted to. I'm not a doctor.
I'd so appreciate it.
Mrs. Lovejoy, I'm sorry, but I think this is something that you should really, discuss with Dr. Frankel.
He won't help me. Neither will any other doctor. I've written to hundreds. They keep talking about their medical code of ethics. But you're an actor. You don't have a code of ethics. You seem such a nice man, such a good man. Won't you help me? Please.
Mrs. Lovejoy, I wish I could.
I'm so tired of life. I know it's my own fault. I thought with all my money I could cheat death. Now death mocks me like a scorned lover. How much longer do I have to suffer for my foolishness? Won't you help me to die? Please. Please.
Dr. Frankel, you know what Mrs. Lovejoy just told me?
She wants to die, yes. I know.
Well, shouldn't it be her decision? I mean, doesn't a person have a right to death with dignity?
Not within these walls. Look, I'm a physician, a real physician. Not some pretty made-up face masquerading as one in some pretty made-up world. I've taken the Hippocratic Oath to preserve life. I don't murder my patients.
Surely there's a distinction between murdering a patient and ceasing to use extraordinary measures, highly extraordinary measures, to prolong life against a patient's wishes. I mean, a few years ago, I had a patient, on my show, of course. He was brain dead, but being kept technically alive with life support systems. After an agonizing few months, and with the consent of the family, I pulled the plug. People who wrote in agreed with what I did by more than 10 to 1.
I'm surprised. Not that they agreed with you, or that anyone with the diminished intellectual capacity one would require to watch that pathetic travesty of reality you appear in is able to write a letter at all.
There's no need to be insulting.
I think there is. In any case, who cares what others think? Right and wrong isn't a matter to be decided by popular vote. It's a matter of individual conscience. Sylvia Lovejoy is anything but brain dead. Her brain is very much alive. And when I have perfected this device, her brain is going to go on living for years and years.
You mean to tell me that this is going to be her?
Yes, her brain, her thoughts, her memories, everything will be transferred to this supercomputer, in which time we will dispose of this ugly, decaying remnant of human flesh. Sylvia Lovejoy will then become a network of interactive machines, smooth running, easy to repair, indestructible.
No. Sylvia Lovejoy is a human being.
And she will continue to be a different sort of human being, I grant you. Composed of metal, wire, microchips, but with feelings, thoughts, hopes, fears, what have you.
What will this new sort of human being do?
I've no idea, but whatever it does, it's going to do it for a very long time.
Can it take a stroll on a beach? Can it hold a child up in its arms?
Of course not. But it can read, play chess, watch television, such as it is, listen to music.
You can't call that life.
You can't call it death.
Would you choose such an existence for yourself?
Probably not. But dear Mrs. Lovejoy did choose it when she came to me, and she's going to have to live with that choice.
You unfeeling bastard.
What do you know about how I feel? How any real doctor feels? Have you ever looked down into the cold, lifeless body of a patient whose life you couldn't save? Every patient is a battlefield between you and death. And no matter how hard you fight him, no matter how skilled and determined you may be, you know that ultimately death is going to be the victor. Well, I'm going to defeat death. I'm going to best him. And no one is going to rob me of that triumph.
Mrs. Lovejoy? Mrs. Lovejoy?
Gloria. Hello, dear.
Mrs. Lovejoy, I couldn't bring you pills or anything like that. But I carry this in my car. If you want to use it.
How can I ever thank you? Peace at last. Please give it to me.
What are you doing here?
Mrs. Lovejoy netted me a sweater. I forgot to take it. Goodbye, Mrs. Lovejoy.
Goodbye, Gloria. And thank you for everything.
Minifield, see her out. And tell security not to let her back in.
Yes, sir.
You should take a rest, Mrs. Lovejoy. You've had an exciting day.
I intend to, Doctor. I intend to.
Fascinating?
Oh, yes.
Well, after all the years of entertainment you've given her on television, I suppose it's only fitting that she should return the favor.
Oh, this is far more exciting than anything I've ever been in. I think you're about to lose a patient, Doctor.
Thanks for the warning. That arm of hers can be locked at the elbow, as you just observed. Suicide is rather difficult without an elbow. What the hell were you doing away from the monitor?
You told me to see Gloria out.
You should have realized the monitor was left unattended. You're paid well enough to use that pitiful brain of yours occasionally.
I'm sorry, sir. It won't happen again.
Sorry, you'll have to excuse me again.
Why won't you let me die? I want to die.
We can't always have what we want, can we?
Is it the money? You can keep getting the money. Only let me die.
I have integrity. Besides which, I enjoy my work, and you're my work. Life is good, but only up to a point. One can have just so much, even of Mozart.
I won't give in. I'll find a way to die. I will.
I don't think so. As you can see, I've pretty much thought of everything.
Not quite everything, Doctor.
How do you feel, Dr. Frankel? Can you hear us all right?
Where's my body?
I'm afraid it wasn't of much use after all those bullets Mrs. Lovejoy pumped into it. Rather messy.
Where is Mrs. Lovejoy?
Oh, I'm afraid she's passed on. The funeral was yesterday. Pity you couldn't have been there.
How could she have died? Did a machine break down?
Oh, no, nothing like that. You see, she felt horrible about what she'd done to you. I mean, especially after all you've done for her over the years. And to try and make it up to you, she worked out a new arrangement with us.
Arrangement?
According to the terms, the life support systems you devised were removed from her and attached to you by Dr. Minifield. You truly owe your life to his skill and brilliance.
It wasn't really that difficult.
Oh.
And as long as you remain alive, the $50 million Mrs. Lovejoy paid to you every year will now be paid to the three of us.
That old witch. I can understand her giving the money to you for the gun, and to you for disconnecting the machines. But why to you?
You know, I have no idea. All I have to do is to continue to play my role in the soap opera, which shall be shown on this TV set every day, as long as it stays on the air. Oh, I know, Doctor, it's not your favorite show, but don't worry. I'm sure it can't run for more than another 30, 40 years. Anyway, I have to get back to New York. I'd come and visit you, but, well, you'll probably be seeing enough of me as it is.
I'll see you out.
What are you doing?
Just putting on a little Mozart. To remind us both of Mrs. Lovejoy. Now, Doctor, how do you like your hair?
I think I'll let it grow.